Again, I want to welcome you to another session of the Gospel Roundtable. Your host, Pastor Deron Tinsley. I'm joined with Sister Sheila Maynard, Friends for Better Health, and she's going to joining us today, dealing with as we talk about different diseases and pain and things of that nature. Because when we look at society and we look at disease and colds and flus and things of that nature, the amount of suffering that people are experiencing is astronomical. And some people learn to live with pain, and some people accept these various ailments in their bodies as just a way of life. You know, maybe this is something that God designed for man to go through. Whereas the Bible tells us that God does not willfully afflict the children of men. And often affliction comes on because of our own transgressions and violating various things that God has put here to be a blessing to us. Right. And so today we're going to discuss disease, but in the sense of how to deal with pain as we deal with these particular diseases, because we don't believe that God wants his people to be in pain. Pain is not a curse, but at the same time, pain is not something that we should resolve in our minds that this is something that I have to live with. Right. I was speaking to a gentleman, and because of various things that he has gone through in his life, and one thing he said to me, and that was, you know, he said, "Pastor, I have learned to live with pain." For over 30, 40 years, he has lived with pain and pain medications. And so some people just learn to live with pain. And so today we want to discuss how we can alleviate a lot of these ailments that people are experiencing. And so we're not going to be able to deal with it all today, but we're going to lay a good foundation that we'll continue to keep coming back with. And so today we're actually going to segue into remedies to deal with those particular pains. And so again, Sister Maynard is actually going to address some of those issues. So Sister Maynard, as we're talking about disease and things, I just want to make a reference, and then I want to ask a question. That is, I was listening the other day and I heard how the Center for Disease Control, CDC, and they had mentioned that this is going to be one of the worst flu seasons, I guess, in a long time. And so they're expecting this to be a very bad flu season. And some can just, again, resolve in their minds that, hey, I'm going to get the flu because the Center for Disease Control said, hey, you know, it's an epidemic. Right. How would you address someone on that nature who may be fearing getting the flu? How could they deal with that?
Well, one of the things that we should do is to keep our immune system high. And when I talk about immune system, I mean the white blood cell count in our bodies. Okay. And there's several ways to do that. Those white blood cells are actually the things that would eat up the viruses and the germs that come into your body. And believe it or not, they are made in the bone marrow. And there's a text in the Bible that says, "A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones." When you are happy in your spirit, the white blood cells increase from the bone marrow, and so you can actually kill cancer cells, all kinds of bugs from just having a happy disposition. And one of the things that also increases that white blood cell count is being in the sunshine. And the sunshine is excellent for killing germs and to increasing your white blood cell count.
Let me jump in. Yes. Don't lose your thought.
Okay.
So when you say sunshine, are you saying going to the mailbox and coming back in?
No.
Leaving the house, getting in the car, driving, the sun in your face?
See, the sun through the glass filters about 95% of the rays that you need. But I mean being in the sun for at least 20 to 30 minutes, especially during the wintertime. Darker skinned people need about the 20 or 30 minutes. Lighter skin might need a little less. And the best time is before 10 o'clock in the morning and after 4 in the afternoon. So you don't get the very intense one in the middle of the day. But that sunshine is really important for killing germs and lowering your blood pressure and the cholesterol and the vitamin D. There is an epidemic of lack of vitamin D, even among people of darker skin. And that's because you go from the house to the car, like you said, to the job, from the job back to the car, back to the house. And we don't spend enough time outside like our parents used to when they sat on the front porch and rocking those chairs and getting the sunshine, or when they were in their garden getting the sunshine. We don't do that. So now our immune system is not as strong. So we will get a lot of diseases. Plus, another thing that causes us to get the disease is the lack of rest. We do not go to bed early enough, and the best sleep is before 12 o'clock. If everyone can get into bed between 9 and 10, your body will feel like it had twice as much sleep. And when you get your rest, that's where all the nice hormones are being made that will fight off all kinds of bugs and will allow you to think clearly even and to function. Some of us the weather tricks us also. One day is nice out, the next day is not. But we really need to keep our extremities even toned. Most men are always wearing shirts and the wrists and long pants, and the ankles and the wrist area is keeping the whole body's a even temperature. So they might not get as sick as women do. But then a lot of women wear short sleeves, and they don't always wear stockings like they should, or boots, and so the body's temperature is chilled. And anytime you get a little chill, that's when the bugs are going to increase themselves. So there are some remedies that I share with you that can solve that problem. But those things are some preventive items that you can do: sleeping, getting your sunshine, and being happy, of a happy spirit. That way you can keep your white blood cell count up. Now, one of the things I do every morning is take a hot and cold shower. As hot as I can handle it, wash all the soap off. And when I wash all the soap off, I turn off the hot water and turn up the cold. You can do your little Indian dance, your little scream for 30 seconds. Let all the water hit your face and the back of your head and increase that white blood cells. They think something's going on, so they increase. Your pores close down, so now you don't get the draft. And now your immune system is boosted. It's the most amazing thing. As I'm listening to you, it seems as though, not seem, but the reality of it is, we're going to have to change our lifestyle. Yes, right. And a lot of times, the impatience that society has now created, the 24 hours, the fast food, pretty much you can have it your way right away. Right. And because of that attitude, a lot of things that God has put for the blessing of humanity is somewhat pushed aside the quick fix. Right. But the quick fix is not fixing the problem. It's kicking the can down the road. That's right. And it is creating these epidemics, because with a industrial boom, housing and all sorts of better ways of hygiene to a great degree, we're getting sicker with more things now. And these things are for the most part causing us or crippling us in one area or the other. So we're able to get around faster, but it's causing us to do less. That's right. And we are, things are more efficient, but again, it's causing us to do less. That's right. And as a result of it, we may look, far as a nation or far as a country, better than what our parents had hundreds of years ago. But physically, they were a lot better. That's right. They had a lot on the outward, it looked worse, but in actuality, on the inward, it was a lot better. That's right. Because they were, in a sense, forced to be out in the sunshine, right, which was killing a lot of the bacteria. Right, exactly. Because people think that, my grandmother, my grandfather ate this way. That's right. And lived this way. And they lived to be 100, so hey, I can eat and live this way and also live to be 100, but they fail to recognize what their grandparents were doing. That's right. To live to 100. So it's not that what they were doing per se, eating, putting in their bodies, was okay. It was that it was such a high dose of
being in the sun.
That's right.
High dose of exercise.
They were resting early.
Resting.
They didn't staying up watching television like we do.
You know, hey, when the sun went down,
they went down. That's right.
And so when the sun was coming up, they got up.
That's right.
Whereas today, because of how we sleep, the lights never really go off in the house. That's right. You know, you may live street light shining, beaming in the window. That's right. So you never really experience that good sound sleep that heals, right? That would really bring healing to the body. So really, to follow this seemingly, or what seems to be coming to me is God's plan, we're going to have to change our life.
Yes, we do. If we want to survive. And I do have to tell you that there is a group of people in the blue zones that are surviving because they are living like this. They're surviving to 190 and 105, and they're playing their little games, pumping their gas and doing, you know, water skiing. And we can do the same thing. They're just applying these simple little remedies. One of the other problems that's causing a lot of the flu symptoms and the low resistance, sugar. So many people are eating sugar and sweeteners like saccharin and the white processed sugar and the high fructose corn syrup. These things are really increasing the germ and the bacteria count in the body. And so now you are going to, when you take a little cough drop with a little sugar in there, you're thinking it's helping your cold. It's food for the bacteria. It's increasing the amounts. The best cough syrup you could make is some honey with a little peppermint oil or something in there, a little lemon juice. That would do much better than buying an over-the-counter sweetener. But that is very important that we watch the sugar intake. Look at the labels and see what's on there. They will say water, high fructose corn syrup. I just want to add this about the high fructose corn syrup. It actually stops your little pineal gland in the brain from turning off and telling you that you've eaten enough. So it's actually increasing your appetite for more unhealthy food. It increases your, it makes your cravings increase, and you don't know when to stop eating.
You know, that was interesting. I heard a report where it was a report, and it showed how those who come together, you know, the food scientists, I'm not sure the exact title that they have, but they were actually talking about how these individuals who put these foods together study, you know, these combinations are not accidental. These combinations are put together to create that thirst. You know, you remember a commercial some years ago when it came to a particular potato chip, and it said, "I bet you can't eat just one." and the person ate one, and it was a craving there. Right. Now, the subtle hint was showing us that what is put in this is creating a desire for more. That's right. For more. And so the idea is you can't eat just one. And so the subtle thing that goes into the subconscious is you can't eat just one. Right. And so you crave, but the combinations of the salts, the fats, the sugars are there for the purpose, almost like a drug, to keep you craving after it. Right.
So unfortunately, we are addicted to the sugar, but we really need to stop the sugar intake. Remember when our parents used to give us castor oil in the old days with the orange juice waiting while the belt was nearby and you had to take the castor oil? That was so that we can clean those parasites out of us, because they knew that was, you know, we had cravings. If you are grinding your teeth at night, or if you have itching in the behind, or you're shaking your legs, or you have parasites. A lot of times the doctors can't tell you what's wrong with you. Most of the time it's the parasites that are causing the problems. So we need to do all we can to get rid of those. And one of the things that you can do is and this is a nice cold remedy. As soon as you feel a little itching, it'd be good to make a garlic and onion tea a big bulb of garlic, a big onion, and you can grate about 2 or 3 inches of ginger in there and boil it for 20 minutes in half a gallon of water. It does more than just kill the bug. It will lower your blood pressure. It would take care of a lot of sinuses and all that. Garlic is one of those bugs that one of those products from God's pharmacy with an F that takes care of so many things. It even kills cancer cells. But the garlic is very good for the flu. If I ever get a cold or something, I would put the honey and the lemon and the peppermint oil, and I would grate a little bit of garlic and put it in the spoon and take all together. That way it would increase, would kill the bugs and stay down. All 3 of those things actually stop bacteria from growing. The lemon, the garlic, the honey. And if you want, you can put a little pinch of cayenne pepper in there to make everything open and expand and work even faster.
When you say cayenne, are you...
The bird's eye, the red African cayenne pepper.
So not necessarily the one you would just grab off the grocery store.
No, the little... Yes, the one from the grocery... That'll be fine.
Okay.
It's not as hot as you could get it, but it works just as well because it opens up the air passages, opens all the blood vessels and everything. And it's best if you do, some people cook with it. You shouldn't really cook with it. You should put it on the food after you've cooked the food. It's the best way to, it's a wonderful thing to have. But another quick thing to do when you feel you're coming down with the flu or the cold is to take an enema, clean the excess waste out so that there's not a lot of waste for the bacteria, for the bugs to grow, to feed on. Just flush your system out as quickly as possible.
Now let me ask this, in light of that, because I know a lot of health clinics that may not necessarily, just health clinics in general, spas, have moved into that area of colonics and those type of things. But what if you do not have someone to do that with you? Would there be another way that someone could clean out the colon?
Well, it's very easy to clean the colon out by yourself.
Okay.
With a enema bag, a water bottle that has a tube attached, warm water, medium tepid water. And usually you just put a little olive oil on the tip of it and insert it and let a quarter of it go in. And you leave it in for about 3 minutes. You turn on your left side while you're doing it. You leave it in for 3 minutes. As long as you can, actually. If you want to massage your stomach a little bit, you can. Then sit on the toilet. And if everything hasn't come out, you can do it again. And you pretty much will have your system nice and clean that way. And, some people have a hard time going. So sometimes just doing that one time could unblock you. And normally if we don't drink enough water, it's going to allow our body or the waste in our colon to crowd together. And that's where the constipation comes from, because the water has left the body. And that's from not drinking enough water also. When there's less water in the system, then the water that's in the colon leaves the colon and go to the other parts that need water. So if you give the body enough water, the body won't have to take from the colon.
Okay.
See?
Now let me ask this. Now, say Nathaniel got sick, and the precautions of avoiding the flu, he may have missed the signs and didn't really get the signals, and all of a sudden the flu comes. Right. And next thing you know, the head is, wow, what could one do in that case? Does he run and get the Triaminic? Well, I don't even think they sell Triaminic no more. Does he run and get the NyQuil, the Theraflu? How does he do?
The best thing to do is if he's over 3, as little as a toddler, if he's 1 year old, you can put his foot in some water for a minute or so, warm water. And if there's 2 years old, maybe 2 minutes. 3 years old, 3 minutes. After that, everyone can do it 3 minutes at a time. But the hot and cold water actually will do more for the flu than you can ever imagine. When you put your feet in some hot water. They call it a hot foot bath. You can do it anywhere from 3 minutes to 20 minutes, and put a little cold rag on your head. It will allow the body to sweat, and that the heat will go through the body, and that heat kills the bacteria. And you actually, and it causes the blood to move and flow. Once you have the blood flowing, you can start. That means the white blood cells are going to be moving, and so once they're moving, they're going to wherever the bacteria is, and it eats up the bacteria, and you can get rid of your cold that way. Or you can take a nice warm bath for about 20 minutes, finish it off with a cold shower, then go in, put on some warm cotton pajamas, and go under the covers for about half an hour or more. Keep everything covered up to the neck and sweat it out, and the body will actually use that process, will kill a lot of bacteria, a lot of bugs. If you don't sweat, now that will tell you that you're dehydrated. There's not enough. So just start drinking some liquids, and the body will get the enough water that it will start creating a little sweating action.
You know, the thing that I often encounter, and that is when you get sick, you don't want water. You know, you don't want to drink anything. Should be drinking. You know, scripture came to mind where it says that we have to bring our bodies into subjection.
Yes, that's
so
right,
even though the body means and the taste buds are not really wanting water, we have to make a choice to bring that body into subjection and drink and do that which we know is right.
Right.
And what's interesting that dawned on me the other day when I was thinking of the flu shot and how the flu shot is the principle of it is built up off the body. Now, what's interesting, because by giving you the flu shot, the body immune system would deal with it and then create in yourself, in your body, a mechanism to deal with it when it comes back.
Right.
And I said, wow, it's interesting. So if my own body is the thing that is going to fight off the flu, and they're simply giving me the flu so my body can beat it, can work with it, identify it, and so when it comes back, it immediately puts up a resistance against it. Why can I not do that with my body
really
without the flu
right,
shot?
when it comes.
So,
Right.
and it dawned on me saying, wow. But again,
right.
It is due to, the Bible tells us, God says, my people, the world,
Right.
his people that he died for, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And he says, because thou hast rejected it. So God's information, nature declares the glory of God. So when you look at the body itself, as the doctors, again, I just said, wow, this is amazing how they say, well, I'm going to give you the flu. For what purpose? So that your body can do for itself what we cannot do for it. And that's basically what they're saying. The best way to fight this disease is with your body. And so what we're going to do is inject your body with it, let your body fight, and then your body will now work on its own. And the thing is, if we would just simply do that ourselves,
that's right,
then we could fight it even before it gets in.
So they're giving you a battle without you. You might not even have to have a battle.
Exactly.
You might never get the flu because your body might have always have the defense up. So, and that's the whole point of following God's plan and God's laws, is to keep that defense up so you will never catch a cold.
But chances are, if we are on the standard American diet, they have already put the data together. If you're eating this way, there's no way you will be able to fight this disease.
That's right.
So therefore, we must give you a boost. But again, the boost comes with the body.
Right.
In other words, they're saying, listen, there's nothing we can do for you, but the body is a thing itself that will work to fight off this infection. Man, it goes back to, you know, God says, the Bible says, we are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Right. So they're admitting that God has already put the defense mechanism in there.
Marvelous are thy words.
Isn't that wonderful?
And that my soul knoweth right well.
I always tell folks, when you cut yourself, you never tell your cut to heal.
That's
it
right.
just automatically knows how to go to work healing. All you do is keep it clean so it can heal really nicely. The Lord is really, really, if we will just cooperate with him, get the knowledge that we need so that we can do that. And that's what our ministries do. We try to teach and educate people all over the state, all over the world, to take care of themselves. There's no reason why anyone in your home should be sick, not even with cancer. I mean, cancer is really just a fungus growing in your body. As you starve it, the fungus will eat on itself and it will go away. And you starve it by feeding it live food. I remember this little phrase, eat live to stay alive. As simple as I can say it.
Amen.
Just eat live to stay alive.
Now, we talked about, again, these codes and just some simple things that we can do. Because as the phrase is, an ounce of cure is better than a pound. An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. And so someone may not necessarily have the flu now. Someone may not necessarily be desiring to get a flu shot. Right. But what are some, in the remaining time that we have, the few minutes we have, what are some things that one can do? He says, well, I don't have the flu. You know, I kind of have a little bit of sniffles, but I don't have the flu. I'm not desiring to take the flu shot. What are some things that they can do tonight or whenever they hear this CD or watch this DVD? What are some things that they can start doing right now with that ounce of prevention?
Well, one of the things I think everyone should do for themselves is to make sure they get the adequate amount of water.
Okay, so water is number one.
Water is number one. And the rule for the water is you drink half of what your body weight is, but I wouldn't go over a gallon a day. You can drink a gallon a day and lose a pound a day. But one of the nice little things, little formulas I figured out is if you take your body weight and divide it by 6, then that's the amount of water you would drink in the morning, in the middle of the day, and in the afternoon. So the average adult needs about 3 quarts. 1 in the morning, drink it when you're having a devotion, put a little lemon juice in there, and that would make the liver healthy, clean the colon, take some pains away. And in the middle of the day, drink another quart, and in the afternoon, drink another one. This way you can keep your colon clean. If the colon can flow freely, then you have less chance of catching some of those bugs. And you should also keep your extremities warm, you know, at least 2 layers or so of clothes, especially in this winter time. Even with the weather doing this little flip-flopping business, if you wear cotton clothes, your body can stay a nice even temperature and you won't have to, you know, peel off your clothes. So you should at least keep those and keep nice warm stockings or boots on. And get the rest. Most people, to be honest with you, Pastor, most people get sick because they don't get enough rest. If your resistance is down, you are going to catch a cold. It doesn't matter how healthy you are. If you don't get enough rest, your body's going to be very weak and easy to attack. So get into bed, leave the TV alone. The news has been the same thing in the morning. Just go into bed early. You know, just don't eat late. And just get that early rest and make it a habit, because the body wants to be in a rhythm. And if you keep that habit of going to bed early, you'll be even better, happier disposition than you are now. Most of us are grumpy in the morning because we don't get enough sleep, or because we we eat too late and the body's not getting the rest it needs because the stomach is working all night and you're flipping and flopping and you're so tired when you wake up because you've been working all night. So 3 to 4 hours before we go to bed, just don't eat anything and just purpose in your mind that you would get your best rest. And I really, be honest with you, I've discovered that that is probably the best kept secret and the best secret in life, a good night's sleep. And when you do have that good night's sleep, you can get up early, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, so that you can spend that time with the Lord. And then the day would be just perfect, no matter what comes.
Amen. Well, Sister Maynard, I want to thank you for stopping in. And we're going to actually come back. We're actually going to deal with this some more, because as you were talking, there are a lot of little tendrils that were branching off that I think is needful to deal with. A lot of things that we might take for granted because we've learned what to do. And when you learn what to do, there are a lot of things, a lot of wrong things that you don't do for a long time. Right. You just kind of take for granted that no one, you know, because it's not in your mind, you tend to think it's not in anyone's mind. Right. But there are a lot of things that is plaguing humanity that that can be dealt with just from these simple principles that we were dealing with. I mean, a whole lot of things that can be dealt with, such as insomnia, not being able to sleep.
That's right.
You know, acne, and you know, people with, you know, struggle with these type of things. Weight, high blood pressure, stomach viruses, you know, you name it, all sorts of things that people are filling up the emergency rooms to deal with, can actually be dealt with right in their homes without the bill, the
$500 to $700 at a time.
Sitting in there in the ER. You know, I drive down the freeway as I'm, you know, going different places, and it says, you know, for a particular hospital, ER is a 9-minute wait. And you would say, wow, that's good, but, you know, who wants to go to the ER? Who wants to deal with the hospital? And these type of things. And there are a lot of things that can be dealt with in the house. And one thing that I'm finding is that some doctors, especially here in the South, not so much in the North, you know, they're having little call lines. You know, if you have a little problem, you could call and speak to a nurse.
Oh, okay.
And one thing, you'll call the nurse and you'll tell the nurse you have a fever. And one thing the nurse says is, remember, the fever is your friend.
Right.
And and you know, and listening to these type of things, they're realizing that a lot of the problems that people are having coming to the hospitals are mental. A lot of problems that they believe is going on is in their minds. And if you can reason, help a person to reason from cause to effect, then they will be able to deal with a lot of these issues without the hospital, but they'll be able to deal with it in their homes. And it's not that the hospitals don't want all this money. They love the money, but they don't have the time to deal with the revolving door. So it's not that they don't want the money. They want the money. But the flow is so overwhelming to where it's best to keep this person here at home than for them to come.
Isn't that something?
You know, and if we would just simply look at these principles and with faith, believing in this medical book that God has given to us, the Bible, you know, where it says in 3 John, where God wishes above all things that his people would prosper, spiritual prosperity, and be in health even as their soul prospereth. So God has a desire for his people to be in health. He wants his people to be well. It says in Ezekiel 47, there's going to come a time where we're going to say, I am sick. I'm not sick anymore. When we're eating the tree of life, which is our medicine. And so again, God has given us these things, and so we're going to have to come back, and we're going to have to go through this thing line by line, because I believe that multitudes right now who are suffering, if they could just hear some of these practical things, what a blessing it would mean to their lives. So again, we look forward to having you again. And again, the Gospel Roundtable with your host, Pastor Deron Tinsley. And just want to thank you for tuning in and continue to listen to these broadcasts as God brings these blessings to you.
Oh, love that will not let me go.